Ignorance breeds a certain anxiety that is so shadowy and so clouded in mystery that you will never be able to determine that ignorance is the root of your problems, that ignorance is what's causing you to feel so uncomfortable, to feel so paranoid. You'll never be able to see, you'll never be able to pinpoint ignorance as the problem you need to solve. You'll never come to understand that it's your lack of education, your lack of experience, your lack of sight that is causing you to feel so weird. See, I could tell you this to be true because whenever I was 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21 even, I felt this low-level anxiety all of the time. Now, when I was 15, 16, 17, this anxiety was much higher up. It was much more conscious. It was much stronger. But then going on to 18, 19, 20, it became more medium and then low in terms of its intensity because I came up with coping strategies. I came up with some methods to make it easier, to make it less unbearable. But it was still there. It was still lingering around, shadowy, clouded in mystery. I didn't know how to solve it. I thought I had to keep hammering away at my coping mechanisms, lifting weights, training on the basketball court, writing music, drinking, getting money, trying to be him, trying to be that guy. I thought I just had to hammer that harder and harder and harder. Whenever you have a hammer, you see everything as a nail. That was me. Until I realized that the reason why I was so anxious was because I wasn't educated. I didn't have a diverse set of experiences. I didn't have many experiences in the same field of life that is so important to have experiences in, aka the real world, with people, interacting with individuals that are not like you, that have different beliefs, that have different opinions, that see the world differently, that are looking at a different part of the painting because you, and in this case me, are and was too close to the canvas. See, you and I have spent so much of our lives with our noses pressed up against the paint. And all we can see is this very tiny portion of the painting. And since that's all we see, that's all we believe is true. That's all we know to be certain. But there are other people looking at other portions. There are other people with things to teach you because they're looking at a different color or a different stroke of the brush. They're seeing something else. And to them, that is what's true. But until I began to try to piece all these different strokes together and essentially back away from the painting, step away, get distance from it so I could see the whole thing. Until I started to do that, I consistently had this low-level anxiety. Because as Falcone says in Batman Begins, with Christopher Nolan as the director, we fear what we don't understand. We fear what we don't understand. We fear what we haven't experienced, what we haven't gained a mastery over, or at least a proficiency over. I fear skating because I'm not good at skating, because I've only done it a few times. Because even though I can rollerblade, for whatever reason, whenever I put on ice skates, I seize up, I tense up, and I forget how to do what I can do on a blacktop, what I can do on a basketball court. I forget how to skate. I'm scared of skiing because I know somebody who blew their knee up skiing down a really steep hill, and I'm not good at skiing because I haven't done it. I fear that because I don't understand it. And for me, years ago, I feared a lot of things, particularly cultures. Not in the sense that I was threatened by them or terrified of them in this high-level sense, like, oh my God, they're all out to get me, they're all dangerous. Not that. But rather, I was uncomfortable because I didn't get them. I didn't have any background in where they came from, what they believe, what they think is true, what they have been told is correct and confirmed is correct year after year, decade after decade, century after century. I didn't know that. And so I decided to educate myself. I had this epiphany where I realized unless I educated myself, unless I gathered experiences, diverse experiences, and many experiences in the same area of life, aka interacting with people, talking with strangers, socializing, being in different rooms, talking about different things. I was never going to get rid of my anxiety. And I can tell you now, going on 27 in a couple of weeks, that educating myself is the best decision I ever made when it comes to my mind state. Or if not the best decision I ever made, one of the top decisions I ever made. Not only because it's nice to know different things, not only because it's incredibly useful to know different things, because you can put that knowledge to use. People might call you and say, hey, can you answer this? I have a question. Or you might find yourself in a situation where you need a piece of knowledge that you gained a couple months ago or a couple years ago. It's not only because it's nice and because it feels good, you get those chemicals in your brain whenever you read a book or you practice a skill, but moreover because it makes you less anxious. And why does it make you less anxious until you don't have any anxiety? Well, it makes you less anxious until you have no anxiety, because skill acquisition and understanding is the key to feeling comfortable. Michael Jordan said he didn't fear taking the game-winning shot because he's taken that shot so many times. Kobe, same thing. He practiced the same shot over and over and over and over and over again so much that he didn't fear those big moments. He didn't fear taking the shot, make or miss. He felt supremely confident in his abilities. And that's what you can give yourself mentally so that you can melt away that anxiety whenever you educate yourself, whenever you study history, whenever you study religions, when you study cultures, geopolitics, when you study how the US operates, when you study how various peoples have conducted their business over the course of history. When you get this internalized, whenever you know different languages, or at least have a faint background in them, you understand the world more. When you understand the world more, you understand yourself more. And when you understand yourself more, you feel less anxious. It's a very simple chain of events that is difficult to do only because A, it's uncomfortable, B, because it takes time, C, because you're going to get frustrated due to how much time it takes, and D, because, B and C and A. It's easy to do if you can get past that. And for me, the thing that got me going, the thing that got me up off my butt to educate myself was simply being sick and tired of being so anxious all the time in this not uncomfortable enough state to the point where I was wanting to curl up in a ball all day, but in the state where I was just on the cusp of being who I wanted to be. If I would only educate myself, if I would only gather experiences, driving Uber full time, taking over 18,000 rides with people from all backgrounds, people of all colors, creeds, nationalities, with all sorts of experiences. If I didn't do this, I would have never became a more secure person, somebody who wasn't so flighty, somebody who wasn't so whenever he walked into a room. And so if you want that same feeling, I can't prescribe you anything step by step that's hard and fast, anything that is down to the tiniest detail. No, because part of the spiritual journey, in fact, the entire spiritual journey, is going about it on your own, is walking your own path, is swerving in and out, taking turns, backtracking wherever you need to, based on your own rhythm, based on your own timer in your head, your own cadence, your own beat, given to you by the Creator. You have to do it yourself. But I can tell you that for me, education and experience was the way. Education and experience was a huge driver in me feeling much better on a day-to-day basis. And it is the thing that continues to make me feel better and better and better on a daily basis, because it compounds, much like an investment. You put money into your 401k or your Roth or crypto or the housing market, and over the course of decades, it builds and builds and builds and builds and builds. It grows and grows and grows until you get richer and richer and richer. And this is what you can do through experience and education, because through that, you get understanding. And through understanding, everything just clicks. So with that, I said, God bless. Have a great night. I need to get some water because, as you can hear, my voice is incredibly hoarse. I'll see you in the next one.